guys, and welcome back! Today, as promised, we're going to be doing a Captain America Lolita bag to match the dress that I did in my previous tutorial. So I hope you enjoy it. And let's get started. Okay, so you're going to want a paper template, some cardboard in different thicknesses, some scissors, a paintbrush and a pencil, some plastic clips or pegs, a glue stick and some white craft glue, and your fabric. As you can see, this fabric is from the Captain America Lolita dress. Okay, so you're going to want to get your paper template and you're going to sketch 2 circles from the template onto some cardboard. We'll be using the thicker cardboard for this part. And we're going to take some nice sharp scissors and cut them both out. Okay, then we're going to take our thin cardboard. I used cardboard from a tea bag packet. And we're going to cut a small strip that's going to be long enough to wrap all the way around the circle. And I'm just going to run it through my fingers like this, almost like you do with ribbon, just to make it nice and curved. And then I'm going to position it just around the circle quickly, just to make sure it's long enough. And then I'm going to get my paintbrush and some white craft glue and put little dead dabs all along one edge. And once we've done that, I just leave it out in the air for a little bit just to get it a tiny bit tacky, and I'm going to wrap it around as close to the circle as I can. Sort of more along the inside edge than around the outside. And then I'm going to take one of my little plastic clips or a peg and peg it in place until it dries. And I'm just going to grab a little bit more glue and run it around the inside rim just to make sure it's going to be nice and firm. And now we're going to get onto our fabric. So I'm going to take this piece with the Captain America shield, which is going to be the front of the bag, and I'm going to cut around it, sort of like leaving a nice large seam allowance. And I'm then going to make a whole series of little scissor cuts just to the very edge of the shield. And then I'm going to grab my dark blue silk and I'm going to stick the shield on top of it to sort of give me a little rough template, and I'm going to cut out a piece of that. And this does not have to be even at all, you're not going to see any of the edges of this. And there we go. And going back to our bag, which should be nice and dry now, I'm going to stick the blue silk onto it for the back. And for that I'm going to use a slightly damp glue stick. And once we've done that, it's the same thing with the shield. We're going to make a whole series of little scissor cuts all around the edge. And then we're once again going to get our paintbrush and our PVA glue, and we're going to paint a nice little thin, sort of thinnish strip all the way around just below the blue. And once we've done that, we're going to use our thumb and just smooth down all those little blue tabs so that they're nice and flat. And it should look like this when you're done. And now we're going to move on to our second little cardboard circle. And I'm going to take some PVA glue this time instead of the glue stick. And I'm going to use the PVA glue because I want this to be stuck down really, really firmly, because this is the side we're going to decorate, so I want it to be nice and strong. And because the template I made wasn't an exact same size of the shield, it's a little bit too big, but that's okay because once we get to decorating, we'll be able to paint it and fix it all up. And now we're going to attach the shield to the bag. So I'm taking some PVA glue again, and I'm going to make some little, quite thick little dib dabs all the way around. And then I'm going to stick it to the front of the bag, and it should fit sort of like a very tight lid. And after that it is the same with the blue. I'm going to run around all around the edge just under the fabric with some white glue. And smoothing it all down like we did before. And it should look something like this. Next we're going to take some of our silver fabric and cut a nice long strip to go all around the outside of the bag. Grabbing our white glue again, we're going to paint it pretty thick all around the outside. And you want to put the edge of the silver fabric around where the bottom of the bag would be. It's a little bit tricky to hold because there's glue all the way around the sides, but it can be done. We're just going to stick it down nice and tight with a little bit more glue and cut off the little excess tab that we've got there. And lastly we're going to grab our scissors and just trim off any excess from around the side. And that's it, that is your basic Lolita bag all completed. And now comes my favourite part, which is the decorating. So I'm going to take a smaller paintbrush and some black paint, and I'm just going to paint all the way around the shield in black. I'm also making sure that the paint also gets on the very edge of the silver fabric because it's quite thick, and it will smudge over onto the sides of the silver, but that can easily be wiped away with a damp finger. And I want to add a sparkling gold star sticker to the very center of it. But before we do that, I'm just going to paint the star in some gold paint. So before we put the star on the bag, I wanted to add some red glitter to make it all sparkly. So I'm taking some PVA glue again and a fine paintbrush and painting all the areas of the bag that are red. And then I'm going to sprinkle all my red glitter on there. As you can see, I've got the bag on a white piece of paper so that I won't get glitter everywhere, and we can slide it back into the bottle when we're done. And give it a good tap to get rid of any excess. And now it sparkles. And we can finally add our gold star. All that's left now is to add a handle. You can use any kind of ribbon or cording that you want. And I'm just attaching it on both sides where I want with some PVA glue and finishing off with a tiny little gold sticker. And that's it, your bag is done.